morning.
Good morning.
Two of you and didn't get me in.
We're here.
We're here this morning. Okay, here is the geeking out studio world of Elizabeth. So what have I always said? On Fridays we're supposed to wear red, but red does not look good on camera. So I picked this outfit this morning, and it looks so horrible on camera versus our pop blue. But look, I want everybody to pay attention here because you think it is all easy and it's lights and it's simple and it should be, but look at the difference when you start adjusting the light of what it does. Totally, right?
Yep.
And then here's where it gets really sophisticated in the studios. Hold on, I'm on the wrong. Oops, I'm still on the wrong one. Trying to get it to the different one. When the tone, tone has such a significant difference. And, of what it does depending upon what you wear. So every day it's a new adventure with the lighting, to bring you the best visual experience of what might happen. So, it's just, and there's Ford. Hello. Good morning. I can hear you, Ford. And I have to tell you, I looked over, I was like, private chat. I have a message in the private chat. I've never had a message in the private chat. I was like, who's private chatting me? I didn't see Ford down there.
I don't have my red on.
That's okay. I just was talking about it. It's actually horrible for the camera.
There we go. How do I filter myself?
Right, Oh, big week today, guys, right? We get to celebrate all the successes of the office for 2020, all the successes of the agents, and super big numbers. We've never crossed over the 500 million number before, so that was super cool. God, I'll tell you what, though, I was like just hyperly, amazingly proud of us in Jeff City because we hit $750 million, and golly, then I heard the Lake of the Ozarks numbers. Oh my God. Their volume was like, what was it, like 724 million?
Yes, it was.
God, dang, they jumped. They literally jumped from like 430 million, I think it was, to 700. And I have to, one, of course, resort properties, the whole resort areas were up. Their sales were just out of the roof last year in every market across the country as people were, spending their travel money on saying, okay, we're going to buy a new home and switch homes. But the price increase of their average sales price down there is just through the roof.
Yeah, like actually I calculated it going from 260 last year to they just short of 300.
For their average sales price?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's just a rough calculation ballpark, but that's pretty close from, because I was always, we always knew their sales price was up there and but 260 to almost 300.
I'll never forget the year they went. So like in 2005, their average lot price was, they had gone, so like in 2001, their average lot price, I think, was 79,000. By 2005, it had increased to 250,000. Okay.
Wow.
But by 2010, when the market crashed, it was back down to like 89. It was like those swings of what happened to them during that are just extreme. The same thing's happening in Boise right now. Their home values have increased by 300% in the past 5 years.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. The good news is if that's you and you owned a home prior to, hey, but it's not, you can't buy more home.
Right.
You can sell and move to Missouri.
Yeah, and it's amazing what kind of leads to a little conversation Jamie and I had yesterday with an agent about appraisers and trying to keep up with the spiking in prices.
Lots of appraisal issues lately.
And how fast it's going, and which led to a conversation. Maybe we can do a lunch and learn with an appraiser next week or the week after that to try to get their thoughts on how to deal with market conditions that are changing.
Well, we've passed on that duty to the board. Because and Brian we were emailing back and forth because we were trying to see if we could get like a form of all of them together. Now he fired back and said that they don't like to do that because they know that they're going to get bombarded with questions and they can't always answer the direct questions. I was like, dudes, come on, right? It's in that should be a much safer environment. So I think what he's trying to do now is maybe even bring some people in from more of a general perspective who can answer appraiser questions. The biggest one I'm going to continue to say is you can always talk to an appraiser. They can't be influenced by you, but you can always talk to them. So don't ever hesitate to pick up the phone and think about doing that.
Yeah.
The question yesterday came up as if you show that you had 7 offers on the property, would that influence their, price
It's influence.
based on?
Well, see, again, that is their obligation. It's not ours.
Yep.
Would I show it to them? Yeah, 1,000%. Whether they are influenced by that is their ethical obligation.
Yeah, they obviously have stuff. They adhere to policies and in their writings of their papers, which is a lot of paperwork.
I have a whole to me. So the other thing that's happening with appraisers right now is there's a horrible discussion that's coming out of, I think it's either California, maybe, or New York, where a house was appraised. It appraised for one number. Okay. I think it fell through. Another couple bought it. The first couple was white. The second couple was black. I think I'm getting this story right. The second time it appraised for $500,000 less.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And so the big question on everyone's mind is are the appraisals equal depending upon the buyer and depending upon, who's selling it and what does that look like into play? And again, it's a subjective process. It's a completely subjective process. And if I were in charge of the world, I would absolutely do away with appraisers and appraisals. Sorry, guys. I would, because there's so much data now with automated value. It's AVM, so automated value modeling, and RVMs, which is realtor valuated models that can be done through RPR. They can be done. We have so much data. And again, when these multiple offers come up that say, okay, here's what the house is going to be, I would start a company called appraisal insurance. Just like you have title insurance, if something goes wrong with the appraisal or, you have title insurance to cover those errors. Well, when you have a house where there's 7 offers in the market, you absolutely can justify that house went for market price. Why are we screwing around? You had 7 people appraise it. One at that point in time, right? You're just trying to make so couldn't we say, okay, we're done. We're going to do drive-bys. I'm going to confirm the house is actually there. Okay, fine. Do the AVMs and then insure for those random situations where something would go wrong on the lender and the lender might get stuck having to make up the difference for some reason. Yeah, that's how I would rule the world. But I hate to say it. It's like it's cannibalizing our own industry, because then someone says, you took out a whole industry, which people are trying to do to us.
That's the truth.
So what else has gone on this week, guys?
Billy?
Me? Oh, just was, we had the virtual awards. I thought it went really well. Shared the graphics and everybody utilized on those, which was great. And
a lot of good graphic sharing and a lot of good social posts. So way to go, team.
Yes, the next week is the start of the magical moments. So look out for the first checklist that'll come out on Monday. So
I'm going to keep these with me at all times right here. So
Yeah.
you're going to see them a lot.
Right.
We also had the lunch and learn that Elizabeth did. I actually got to watch that one. It was pretty good. And then it's funny because Alex came in and talked about someone that called him that has a house for sale in, I think it was Costa Rica. Was it Costa Rica or was it Puerto Rico? I don't remember, but I was like, oh, I think we know someone that might be able to help the referral in that area. So I told him about it.
Did you send it to Carlos?
I told him, I said, oh, the guy that I was on the lunch and learn, you need to talk to him. So I don't know. It was kind of a.
Oh, check it out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. That's always good when that helps. I thought his tip on what he does with sellers before listing a presentation was just so simple and brilliant. And he goes, I take them to lunch. He goes, you work with a buyer, you take them to lunch, you go out and buy property, you have a meal with them, you build this connection. He said, before I go on a listing and presentation, I'm like, well, why don't we get to know each other and go to lunch? And I don't know what I would do if I was a seller. I'd be like, you want to go to lunch with me? You know, like, am I really going to do that off the bat? I don't know. You know, I mean, it would be different. But he's like, he goes, you have him at lunch. He goes, it's done. It's over. I'm like, yeah, buy somebody a $25, $30 lunch. He's probably taking them to high end, you know. He's not taking them to Chick-fil-A. I said, shoot, that's a great idea.
Mhm.
You know, it's a sunny day. Let's get out. Let's go up to Sophia's on their deck, talk about your property, and go get it sold. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
That's worth it all the day long.
I think this week's tip is to find somebody who's got the Bitcoin that needs to buy a home. You know, they have one Bitcoin. It's worth like 50,000. So they need to buy a home.
Yeah.
And these could be kids that happened like 7-8 years ago. So
Yes, that's a good point.
Somebody out there needs to buy a home with Bitcoin. So I think that's the marketing play of the week to find out who needs to buy a home.
Look at that. I do. And so none of us have on our Remax jackets. I'm getting flooded this morning with people ordering jackets, kind of last day to do that. So that's good to go. But Billy, you'll love this. The other question I've gotten twice this morning is, I don't want a jacket, but I want Billy's hat.
Oh, well, which one? Because I've got this one and then that other one. But I think the other one I wear more.
I think it's the other one. I'm pretty sure it's the other one. So now I'm trying to track down. I'm like, where did we get that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think do we have any more of those, Jamie, do you think?
Dude, I don't think
think
so. If you look at the tag, Billy, we might be able to figure out where we got it.
That's a good call. Yeah, that would be helpful. Track that down for me, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we've got Momentum. And, you know, again, these are great classes. We're going to do Momentum Marketing next week. Basic information, you know, what do you need to know? What do you need to learn? Hour and a half, kind of in and out on the Zoom, figuring that out. So absolutely, you know, kind of take advantage of that, hopefully. And I've opened it up to some other offices. So there may be some faces that you don't know, maybe some questions you don't see, or we'll get some marketing tips out of that. So that's a great thing to do. There's the Bruce Site classes coming up here with the Board of Realtors as far as ethics go.
Yeah, I did sign up for that. It's on the 20. Just trying to look. Is it the 24th? No, it's Monday. Monday
the 22nd.
Yeah.
So I think there's still some spots for that. You can do that, and that is virtual, correct, Jamie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Zoom. Yeah.
Get on that if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
I have an interesting appointment next week. Very interesting appointment. It is with a cultural consultant out of Indianapolis who is going to share with me just some interesting implicit biases that we don't know what's going on with them. So I'm going to have I'm excited about it. It's going to be kind of different and interesting to learn about that. And trying to think of we will have, let's see. Yeah, so those are the two big classes coming up next week. Bruce Site Code of Ethics, in case you missed that, and then also the Momentum. On March 16th, is our next Lunch and Learn. We'll have an office meeting before that, but on March 16th, we have a new program. What's it called, Jamie?
I have FYF marketing, but it's something. Yeah. Friends of friends. I had an agent. I was on the phone this morning with someone, and they were kind of talking about something. I was like, "Ooh, I have a solution for that." It's going to be a mailing program that you can send to your clients that has some benefits for them. So, you know, if you're kind of thinking, "Gosh, I wish I did more touch with my clients. I guess I wish I could send them something and items of value." This is going to be good. And Billy, you know, the other thing I started thinking of is we need to start planning our spring pop buy coming up here.
We do.
Yeah. It's a little too early for spring, but gosh, it's nice to think about spring with all the snow out there.
Yeah.
It'll be here before we know it, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a question about your video last week because I wasn't on last week, but what was the answer to the trivia question you guys had?
The Valentine's Day one?
Yeah.
YouTube.
What was it?
YouTube.com was formed on Valentine's Day in the year 2005.
I was convinced it was Match.com.
I know when you said that, that's what I was too.
Yeah.
YouTube.com. You should get, and for those people out there, there's you should go search the original YouTube video. It's of the kids that started. It was he was just in a park. I think he was filming an elephant of all things, if I'm correctly. But
Interesting.
it was only like 30 seconds long, but fascinating where that's come. Which, by the way, leads me to, for all the audio people out there and the Apple people, have you talked about Clubhouse yet?
No, I don't know that we totally have.
Why don't, Billy and Elizabeth kind of had a little slight expertise in it yesterday. Why don't you share to them or agents that don't know what Clubhouse is? Because we got a lot of audiobook people in our office, and they might be all over this one.
We do. So Clubhouse is a new app. It's not new. It launched last year, but it's totally gained in popularity now in the past month or two. And it's on Apple only, and you do have to have an invite. So if you need an invite, let one of us know. We can try to get you on the platform if that's what you need. But basically what it is it's just topic based. There are some famous people in it. Sometimes there's not. Just kind of depends upon which room you go in. There's a lot of rooms talking about real estate, talking about, real estate teams or real estate market or even appraisal issues. But there's all sorts of topics. You can do gardening and stocks and, cooking and all of those things, but it's all audio. And so it's kind of like being on imagine if not, you didn't see any of our faces and you just were hearing us talk. And there's basically a stage where you have a stage with moderators, but then people can kind of bring people up to the stage if you want to talk about it. And so if you like podcasts and you like listening to podcasts, you might enjoy listening to Clubhouse because it's really something you can listen to. I think some of them are structured. You have a good structured moderator who has questions and is kind of looking to give some items of value to those people who have come in the room. I think some of them just like to talk and listen to themselves. And if that's the case, you can just kind of get out as soon as you want. So a good moderator is critical. And what happens is you can follow different people. So, if you start to follow a moderator that's really good and they're doing different topics, you can do that. And the other thing is you follow each other so that, if Billy and I are following each other and Billy goes into a room, I'm like, oh, Billy's in that room. Maybe I want to check it out. What was your experience, Billy?
I just downloaded it yesterday and I haven't used it yet. So I'll get back to you on that.
But we found you. We know you're there.
So I downloaded it last night, and and all of a sudden I was in a room, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it's a little unnerving because you realize you're in a room and you hear people talking. You're like, "Can they hear me? Oh my gosh, are they going to call on me? What are they going to do?" Okay, don't raise your hand unless you're ready.
At the same time, I was like, okay, thinking about how powerful it could be if your famous person got on there, and next thing you know, everyone's listening to them. So that's it's got a lot of powerful audio without the video stuff. I'm sure there's video in there. I haven't got too deep in there too yet, but
no video.
No video.
No, it's all audio. The one thing to remember is it's not recorded. So nothing's recorded, and the terms are no recordings. So don't, if you're either in it or you're not, and if somebody says, "Oh, I heard that the other day," you're not gonna get to go back and hear it. It's all, it's like listening to the talk shows at night or the talk shows in the day.
Yeah, and like even one of the persons was, our good friend Wayne Frederick came up as a person to follow, and I was like, oh, he'd be really good at this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool little prospect of it.
Yeah, I can't decide how sucked in I want to get.
Yeah, right. I kind of feel like it's more connected to the audio in the car and drive with it.
For sure. Like that'd be a great place to kind of just listen along, if you wanted to just listen, if you wanted to interact. Again, it's different. People have different motivations. I think the one thing is some people are getting on and it's like, ooh, I got called up on the stage. Ooh, I got to talk. I got to talk in a room of 70 people and wow, I got to talk. And it's like, okay, what'd you talk about?
Yeah. So
well, with that, any big plans for the weekend?
Nope. Big plans.
Neither. No.
Just a huge congrats to all our agents.
Very big week and great job and
Yep.
Yay.
Mine's here somewhere.
Here's for 2021.
It's so funny. My
Right.
palms have like dust in them because I've kept these for a long time. So every time I shook them, like
Need to get some other of the pom poms sent to Billy's house. Yeah. All right, guys. Be happy, be healthy, be helpful.
All right.
Bye.